Welcome to Thimble Line TV. My name is Ray Dietrich. And, we've done a show on these pages and in these channels on these social platforms in the past. And we were absolutely targeted and destroyed almost from a huge censorship push against our pages. We had about 2.5 million followers just on Facebook alone. We were demonetized, meaning we could no longer earn income from our business. Taken off of our pages, so we couldn't even post to the 2.5 million people. And it's been a fun ride getting it back, but we are back. We have a new partnership with Red Voice Media on a censor-free platform, so you can enjoy all the police content, uncensored police content, the political news, all the good stuff at redvoicemedia.com. You click on Thimble Line TV there, and you'll get taken to all police and law enforcement news. Okay, so if first time tuning into one of my shows, my name is Ray Dietrich. I did about 20 years of law enforcement in Southern California, left as a sergeant, and I kind of speak my mind when it comes to law enforcement. So if you haven't seen me before, get prepared for that. But we are back. We have a new partnership with Red Voice Media, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of this. So this show is, I was doing a weekday, Monday through Friday show. It got to be too much. We're going to try to do this on the weekends and just kind of recap what's going on in the world of law enforcement and law enforcement news. So we'll get right into it. We had an absolutely tragic week in the law enforcement community, starting off with, 2 FBI agents were killed in a warrant service in Florida. 3 other agents were wounded in that. They were serving a warrant in a child exploitation case. Basically, they went to hit the door, gunfire went off, and we ended up with 2 agents killed. The director, Christopher Wray, identified them as Special Agent Daniel Alphen and Special Agent Lauren Schwarzenberger. Alphen was 32 years old, and Schwarzenberger was 33 years old. So a huge loss there. Thoughts and prayers go out to that agency. The unidentified shooter, I won't even ID him here, was a child porn possessor, right? Like that's the kind of things that happen on these kinds of warrants. People with nothing to lose because they think their life's gonna be destroyed when they're caught tend to shoot it out with the cops. That happens, and an absolute tragedy down in Florida, in Sunrise, Florida. And that's just the beginning of the week. We lost those 2 agents super early in the week, and the week kept getting worse, to be honest. So thoughts and prayers to the FBI. And look, I cover a lot of politics. If you're watching this on one of our pages, we cover a lot of politics. I believe that policing and politics are something you need to talk about together, because, there is people in politics and politicians that want to destroy the police, defund the police, all those things. And I know in the political lens, sometimes the FBI doesn't get a lot of respect because of the things that occur that are completely shady and disgusting at executive levels of the FBI. But that takes nothing away from the field agents going out there and doing this type of work. So, big loss there. So moving on, since I talked about politics a little bit, let's talk about Jalina Porter. Okay, Jalina Porter was appointed by the Biden administration to be the spokesperson of the U.S. State Department. Okay, now, if you've been paying any attention, you know that the left and Biden are not exactly police friendly. Joe shoot him in the leg. Biden's gone out on the campaign trail and talked about police brutality. He even took the opportunity of when the FBI agents were killed this week to not just talk about the loss of those FBI agents, but to mix in that, hey, most cops are good kind of rhetoric in that exact statement about the FBI. You can't leave it alone. So why would you expect anything less than hire someone like Jalina Porter, who is quoted from social media as saying the largest threat to U.S. national security are U.S. cops? Let me read that again. The largest threat to U.S. national security are U.S. cops. This was the U.S. State Department spokesperson that they chose, the Biden administration, to represent this country, feels that cops are worse than ISIS and Russian hackers, and is at the center of the threat to national security of this country. That's where we're headed. That's why you need to pay attention. Okay, the messaging coming from this administration already is very anti-police, and it's not going to get any better. So, if you follow my other shows, my other content, you would know that one of my big saying was like, hey, usually I wouldn't tell you who to vote for, but if you vote for a Democrat, you do not support the police. And now we're going to see why I said that time and time again. All right, let's move on to Vegas. This is a good story. This has a happier ending. And this one showcases the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment. Okay. One of the most important things that has come to our country is the Second Amendment. And by the way, you can visit the site. We're pulling up pictures or a screen share from the site. There's videos on a lot of this stuff. If you go to redvoicemedia.com, you can watch the video, the recaps, read the stories. We're putting out a lot of police content and news daily. So there's videos behind all this. You can watch all that. But so let me talk about this Vegas. Here's the headline. Officer stabbed outside gun range. 3 citizens and an officer shoot and kill the suspect. So let me just start off. I don't like to give criminals tips. I'm not really trying to help them be better thugs. But if you're going to attack a police officer, I would suggest you not do that outside of a gun range in Nevada. That could probably end really poorly for you, and it did. So police were called to the location. This happened on Wednesday. Police were called to the location just before noon after reports of a man causing a disturbance, refusing to lose location. Several patrons, meaning gun-owning Americans, followed the man outside until police arrived. When the officers arrived, he wasn't complying with orders, pulled out a screwdriver. He attacked at least one officer, injured an unidentified female police officer from Las Vegas Metro, and then 3 citizens and 1 officer shot and killed the suspect. So this one comes with a happy ending, and it sounds as if the officer was transported to a local hospital and released and will fully recover. But again, if you're a crook, probably don't attack the cops in front of a gun range. And shout out to those citizens who did the right thing and helped out that officer in need. And we're able to because of the Second Amendment. So that's a good one. And speedy recovery to that officer. Let's move on to Texas. This has been a long week of shootings and a bloody week, unfortunately, for law enforcement. So Texas officer shot. Manhunt for suspects is still ongoing. They do have suspects identified in this. The identified officer who was shot, Sergeant Joey Sepulveda, 18-year veteran of the department. He's shot multiple times during what appears to be an attempted burglary. And this happened in Balcones Heights, Texas. The Sergeant, Joey Sepulveda, was first on scene, made contact. And this is from video surveillance. The authorities basically said that it showed that Sepulveda was reaching for a taser, and then he experienced heavy gunfire immediately. Apparently interrupted a burglary, but he was able to return fire when he fell. And another example of great police work and the camaraderie is that the next officer did the right thing. Edgar Ortiz scooped up the sergeant, put him in a patrol car, had citizens help him put into the patrol car. Citizens came to the aid of this sergeant and got him scooped up into a car and into the hospital. Sergeant Sepulveda is in critical condition, suffering gunshot wounds to his neck, shoulder, and his arm, but he, as of 2 days ago, was out of surgery and responsive, so that sounds like that's going to have a good ending, but we wish him a speedy recovery as well. Now, they did identify some suspects in this. If you want to pull up these assholes' pictures, there we go. We have Wilfredo Montemayor, 27, and his brother, Sigifredo. I guess they couldn't come up with anything better. It's got to be the Fredos, right? Wilfredo and Sigifredo Montemayor are identified as the shooter and the getaway driver in that they're still outstanding. So if you see them, call 911 and let's get these a-holes off the street. And again, we wish Sergeant Joey Sepulveda a speedy recovery in this. More horrible news in New Mexico. New Mexico State police officer was killed. There's a video behind this. Okay, so basically, it's pretty limited what's on this. So I don't want to misreport anything on this. But there was an incident where there was a traffic stop. New Mexico State police officer 28-year-old Darian Jarrett was shot and killed at that scene. The suspect fled. There was a pursuit. And then at the termination of the pursuit, there was another shooting where at least one other officer was shot and injured, and the suspect was killed. There's a video of that. We have it on our website. You can watch some idiot who recorded that on his phone, and it shows the suspect getting smoked. So if you want to see that, go over there. Las Cruces police responded and helped out the New Mexico State Police on that at the termination point, and they had injuries as well. So we are hoping for a speedy recovery of the Las Cruces police officer, and thoughts and prayers go out to the community department and the friends and family of Darian Jarrett. Jarrett was sworn in as a New Mexico state police officer in 2015. Leaves 3 small children, and has a 4th that was on the way. So tragically, that's a common theme in law enforcement. It seems that the young guys that go down often have small kids at home or one on the way. It's just terrible. So thoughts and prayers to that, and keep your head up, everybody. It's not even close to being over. The war on police is as real as it's ever been. So moving on, North Carolina especially had a very rough week. North Carolina had several incidents. We'll start in High Point, North Carolina, where 3 police officers were shot. A standoff ensued. It went 11 hours. And when police finally made entry and got in there, they found another woman dead in the home and the suspect dead. So they returned fire quite a bit. I don't think they know if it was self-inflicted, or they're not releasing if it was self-inflicted, or if one of the SWAT cops got him. But they had basically, the officer rolled up or was on patrol, heard gunshots, found out where the gunshots were coming from, rolled up on the house, saw the suspect, Josu Drummond Cruz, who's now dead, outside in front of the home with an AR-15. He ran inside the house when the officers got there. Perimeter was set up, and then he started shooting at the officers, ended up shooting 3 of them. Lieutenant Truitt from the High Point Police Department said none of the officers' wounds were life-threatening, so that's good. But at least one required surgery. So a standoff went off 11 hours. More gunfire was exchanged along the way, and the end result is 3 officers shot, suspect dead, and a woman dead inside the home. So that's just one from North Carolina. Okay, this stuff happens every single day. And unfortunately, you're not going to see this on most of the news. The local stuff covers it. You won't see it in national news. So that's a big purpose of why we do this, is to get this information out to more people, to show exactly what it is like to be a law enforcement officer in America. All right, let's move on to the next North Carolina incident. North Carolina deputy and suspect both shot during traffic stop on I-95. It was a Nash County deputy that was shot. The sheriff, Keith Stone, said a deputy spotted a Mercedes exceeding the speed limit. Did the traffic stop, noticed criminal activity in the car, asked him to step out, and the suspect started shooting. So Deputy William Toney was shot multiple times in his upper and lower body. A second deputy at the scene returned fire and held the suspect at gunpoint until other units arrived. They were both shot, the suspect and the deputy, and they're expecting the deputy to make a full recovery. So speedy recovery to the deputy, and it just goes on and on and on. So Deputy William Toney is injured. I don't have any information on the suspect's condition. I don't care. It's unfortunate that he's still breathing. And Sheriff Stone, who had a really good press conference on this, came out and talked about how he was appalled that this suspect was even on the street in the first place. 11 arrests, including strangulation, drug trafficking, and assault with a firearm in his history, and he's out driving around, a free man, so that he can shoot a cop on a traffic stop for speeding. Probably could have just taken his ticket and gone, right? So that investigation is ongoing, and definitely wish Deputy Toney a speedy recovery. So now we're going to get into a little something that's one of my pet projects. I have 3 pet projects currently, and they pretty much go with police stuff as well. One is recall Chesa Boudin, one of the worst DAs in America out of San Francisco. His parents are literally cop killers from a domestic terrorist organization. He's an absolute mess. We'll get into him next week. The other one is to recall Gavin Newsom, California governor, and that's going to happen. We're like 80,000 signatures short, and he's toast. And my third pet project is to get rid of George Gascon, whatever you want to call him. I call him Gascon, the DA from Los Angeles. This guy's a mess. Okay, so he is another bought and paid for Soros DA, and that's all documented. That's not a conspiracy theory. That campaign contributions are tracked. He received a lot of money from George Soros, and he ran against Jackie Lacey, the first female black DA in LA, considered a liberal. Okay, she wasn't a Republican, she was a liberal, but she was fair, she was good. She put bad people in jail. Okay, he ran against her and won, and basically he's an ex-San Francisco DA put in there by Gavin Newsom. Big shock there. Replaced Kamala Harris's position there. Big shock there. And now he's dismantling Los Angeles County. Okay, so we've got a clip. We'll play that and we'll talk some more.
George Gascon was sworn in as the district attorney of the city of Los Angeles. Gascon's campaign received millions of dollars from George Soros. They have to commit crimes. They're poor, so this is what they do. That's insulting, of course.
It is racist.
Right now, it feels like we don't have anyone on our side.
The families of those victims are outraged.
When I heard of the special enhancement being removed, I was devastated.
It was as though George Gascon had spit in my face and punched me right straight in the stomach and knocked the wind out of me.
Do we follow the directives of our office and violate the law? Or do we follow the law and violate the directives of our office?
His policies put victims first.
Mr. Gascon, how you can do this to families. There are others out there that are going to be going through the same thing. And it's not fair that they don't have the rights that the criminals do. How dare you?
All right, so now you're getting a feel for George Gascon. He's much more of a public defender, trying to get crooks off than he is a district attorney. He's in the wrong office. He's getting sued by his own people. The LA District Attorneys Association, the union for DAs, is suing George Gascon. Why is that? Because he's an absolute mess and he makes Los Angeles less safe. So let's go over some of the things that he's all about, right? One of his latest things is he won't let district attorneys go to parole hearings. Okay, so when I was with LA County Sheriff and Riverside Sheriff, I would attend parole hearings from people that I had put away who were trying to get out. Okay, they'd come down to the county jail, parole board would be there, maybe his lawyer would be there, but the DA and the sheriff's department were there, okay, to talk about why this person needs to be still in jail and not on parole. And that's been taken away. He doesn't allow the DA's office to send representatives to these parole hearings. Why would you do that? Because you want them to get out of jail. Okay. There's cases coming up from like Manson family people that we won't be able to send people from the DA's office. There's all kinds of cases coming up, and it's absolutely disgusting. Cop killers. Okay. This isn't the only thing George Gascon is doing. He's trying to get rid of the death penalty completely. He won't file a death penalty case. That's over. He's going for no cash bail, which has been a proven disaster in places who have tried it. Go check out New York State. See how they've been doing for the last year in their crime rate with no cash bail. People who can commit crimes, get out, commit crimes, get out over and over and over with no consequence. That's what George Gascon wants. Okay. He's a Soros bought and paid for DA, just like Kim Foxx in Chicago, right? Just like Chesa Boudin in San Francisco. These people do not want a safer community. They want to destroy the criminal justice system from the inside, and that's what they're doing. Okay, so Gascon's big thing is no enhancements. He doesn't want these enhancements because they're racist, right? They're racist. Everything's racist now, right? The enhancements are like gang enhancements. In California, if you could prove that a crime was committed to further a gang, you could do a gang enhancement, give them more time. So if you have a gangster doing robberies to support the gang, gangster selling dope to support the gang, gangster shooting people to support the gang, you can put them in jail for more time to keep people more safe because they're predators. He's getting rid of that, and he's going retroactive. When he first came in office, he was trying to go back and go back to the courts and take off these enhancements and reduce sentences on people already in prison for violent crimes. Okay. He published a big list, like a laundry list of crimes that he will no longer prosecute, what he calls, minor crimes that don't matter: prostitution, drunk in public, drugs in public, possession of some drugs. Here's how it works. If you take away the tools from police to arrest people and put them in jail, then all we do is respond to violence and pick up the pieces afterwards. If we don't have a way to put people in jail for guns and drugs and for small crimes before they commit the big crimes, then literally all we do is respond to violence and pick up the pieces. It doesn't make anybody safe. Okay. Would you rather arrest the guy with the gun on the way to shoot somebody and put him in jail? Or would you rather arrest the guy after he shot 2 people? Which makes more sense to you? Okay. That's the purpose of it. If you don't have tools and crimes and things that we can actually prosecute that are somewhat smaller, then how are you going to get bad guys off the street before they commit a serious crime and hurt people? You're not. Okay. You just aren't. George Gascon is terrible for Los Angeles. Now, you're starting to see a lot of pushback. Like I said, the LA DA's office is suing. Sheriff of LA County, Alex Villanueva, who is a self-branded progressive who I usually don't agree with much about, is fighting back hard. He's very active and social, doing a lot of press against Gascon. They're sending deputies to these parole hearings to make sure that these victims' families are represented. And that is the job of George Gascon, is to represent the victims of these crimes. He acts more as if he wants to represent the criminals themselves. That's not his job. His job is to protect the people of Los Angeles County and protect the victims of these crimes. And he's doing a horrible job. He's absolutely trash. Good news is, since he's only been in office since January, he can't be recalled yet. But the good news is, in March, it'll be 90 days and he can be recalled. There's already a recall effort brewing for George Gascon. If you are a Los Angeles County resident, I urge you to go to recallgeorgegascon.com, get involved, get active, because if you don't, you will be less safe. Los Angeles County is already a violent place. It will be much more violent and deadly, and crime will go through the roof. Businesses will leave. People will move out, and you'll be left in Mad Maxville. If that's what you really want, keep George Gascon. If not, fight back, do something, get involved. If you don't fight in a local level, then you'll never get a change. Recallgeorgegascon.com, and that's coming in March, but get involved now. All right, that's what I have for the recap of the week in law enforcement. Thanks for hanging out as long as you did on Thin Blue Line TV. You can find this show, law enforcement news, political news, and videos from The Truth, who do a great job with politics and videos and media, all at redvoicemedia.com. If you're watching this today, you'll see our old gross site that we put together to launch this thing. But we have a brand new site launching within days or hours, depending on who you talk to, right? Brand new website's coming at redvoicemedia.com. We're very excited about it. We're very proud of it. And our whole goal is to tell the story of the American law enforcement officer, uncensored, from a point of view that is accurate and not full of media bias. So I hope you join us at redvoicemedia.com and check out Thin Blue Line TV. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.